The waxing moon is basically coming from a new moon into a full moon is when the moon is in the waxing phase. Very much like working with woodworking projects. You have a rough piece of lumber, which would be the new moon, and then the waxing moon brings it on into a full moon type situation. So that's why I call it waxing moon wood. I'm Ed Salee, I'm a craftsman. I build custom boxes primarily, and mostly cigar humidors. I took an interest in woodworking and started in 1992, and started out working on the big things like everybody wants to do. And I built a couple of boxes, and I built jewelry boxes, and I liked how it didn't take as much wood, and you could buy better wood. You could buy more expensive exotic wood to make nicer looking things. So I went with that and built a lot of jewelry boxes for friends and family, and eventually everybody wound up with a jewelry box, and I wanted to keep doing it. So I wanted to find something that I could market, and cigar humidors seems to be a perfect fit for what I like to build. A lot of my customers browse through my website and they request different species, and then I try to pair up wood that goes with that species. For example, maple with the contrast of ebony on this box. And maple and walnut always go well together. And you just try to find a combination that works. We just basically narrow down what it is they're looking for in a humidor, and then I take it from there and translate that into the humidor itself. A lot of times I don't know who I'm talking with. I've got my humidors on 6 continents, so it's hard to imagine the breadth of the audience out there that has interest in my boxes. It's humbling. A lot of my projects are requested by people that are gifting them to somebody, and those projects, I think every one of them I try to translate what they're feeling about into that box. I built one for a guy who, as he ordered it, his father went in for a heart transplant, and there's a cigar out there called My Father. So I made a cigar band lid and put a My Father cigar label in the corner. A to B of building a humidor is, obviously you have to determine the size and determine the wood that you're going to use. And, just sum it up in one point, measure twice, cut once. That's a rule of thumb for all woodworking, and same thing with the boxes. You just have to measure. Sometimes I measure 3 or 4 or 5 times, because a 1/64 of an inch gap on a box would be like the Grand Canyon compared to a dresser having that same 1/64 inch gap. So really just have to measure and double check before you cut. And the rest of it's just putting it together and seeing what else you can do to make it look better. And there's a lot of different things you can do. The way that I came up with the design and general design for my boxes are, I use the golden ratio for the dimensions. So basically, proportionally, this box is the same as this box, is the same as this box, is the same as this box. So using the golden ratio, I think gives it more of an appeal just by looking at it. There's a large humidor upstairs that is a custom design for a fellow that had ordered from me before. His first challenge was an octagon-shaped humidor, which turned out really nice. A couple years went by, he contacted me and said he had purchased a Macintosh Willow chair, which he wanted me to emulate with a humidor. And that humidor is upstairs, and the process behind that was, you'll have to see the design, but in order to make it as such, I had to make it as big as it is, because working with any smaller pieces than what are on there would have been very difficult. So I think the squares on it are a 1/2 inch, and they're alternating into a pattern on all 4 sides, and it took me a very long time to do. Latches here. Probably the most significant thing that I did was the flag cases for the pilot of United Airlines 175 who went down in infamy on September 11th, 2001. I built a flag case for the wife, the 2 daughters, and the mother, and presented them to them. I would say that I get involved with each project that I do.